Hello friends, welcome to another GI one-off video. I am your host today, Alex Stadnik. Join with me, the biggest Pokemon fan in the world, and someone who's trying to rekindle the love, Brian Shea and Marcus Stewart. Hello, gentlemen.
Hey, how's it going, man? Long time no see. It's been like
It's been hours.
2 hours or whatever it is that since the stream happened.
Yeah.
So exciting. Are we gonna catch them all today? Is that what we're doing?
We may just do that.
None of them.
Today, we are going to talk about the exciting announcement of Pokemon Legends and talk about kind of what we want going forward. And we're going to play the trailer and kind of break things down. If you guys saw the Mortal Kombat video we did last week, it's something similar, but I think we're gonna press play here.
It's on Switch.
This is a tale from a long
So those
time
Pokeballs
ago.
are made out of
And
wood.
the Sinnoh
Yes.
Yeah, that's what's
was
awesome.
still
Like that's one of the things that I most want from this, I think, or not maybe most want, but something that I hope that happens is that those Pokeballs function just slightly different. Like think about like the Lancer and the Retro Lancer in Gears of War. Like I would love it to be like, all right, we've got this like basic concept down, but it's a little bit more archaic. I don't know how they could differentiate it. We've seen a little bit of it a little bit later in the trailer, but I don't know. I'd like to see a little bit of difference in how the Pokeballs operate.
Yeah, I wonder how you can do a difference that isn't annoying. 'Cause I feel like the difference would be they don't hold the Pokemon as well.
Yeah.
They're just like, bursting out every 5 minutes.
You're like trying to stuff the Pokemon in,
right?
like, yeah.
Yeah, it's like every time Ash tries to keep Pikachu in the Pokeball, basically.
Yeah.
Psyduck is the real example there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, good call out.
Psyduck's always coming out of the Pokeball.
Yeah.
A certain
Misty had
village
one of those
bustled with
Pokeballs.
the comings and goings of people,
Now,
while in the mountains
I'm
and
hoping,
seas,
I'll pause it for a sec. I am really hoping, one of my big dreams for this game is as much as I love the plucky friendship is for everyone stories of Pokemon past, I really want more like lore and history out of this game.
Yes,
And
that's one of my top things.
and like voiceover. You know what I mean? I want an actual story.
Here's the thing. Here's the great thing about this that enables us and gives me hope for getting more lore out of this is that the entire story has been framed that you're building the first Sinnoh Pokedex, which means that you're learning about these creatures. You're not just like catching a thing and it's like, oh, here's everything you need to know about this creature in text form. It's like, I'm hoping you're actually observing them and like learning stuff about these Pokemon.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
this is basically me playing this in real life. then.
Yeah, for real.
As someone that has not played Pokemon seriously really since Generation 1, and I wrote a whole opinion piece on the site called What It Would Really Take to Get Me Back into Pokemon. That's kind of like what you guys are saying is one of the things I wanted, but more like I hope the protagonist is actually interesting, which I don't have a lot of faith for.
For sure.
That Chingling, I think that's what that was really struggling to keep the frame high.
We'll go back here,
right
yeah.
there.
Yeah, can we look at the struggling bug?
Oh
I'm
no.
hoping that's just a little bit of polish. Like, we still have a full year before this game comes out, if it even stays on schedule. So
Yeah.
Because the rest of the Pokemon look better, and I would say if the rest of the creatures were going for that same maybe like frame by frame style that is a little bit more popular in like social media design and stuff right now, great. But it looks like they just didn't render the right file for the trailer here.
yeah.
Steve, you got the wrong file, buddy.
Well, we gotta go. It's on Premiere. We gotta do it.
I do love that you can see
Here's another
all
thing
of them.
that I would love to see in this game is that the emphasis remains on that primary objective. Like there could be other stuff going on that like you have to do like side quests and everything, but your main quest is building out that Pokedex for the Sinnoh region.
Yeah.
I don't want any kind of evil team. I don't want any kind of like gyms to go through in battle. Like leave those to the mainline series. I want more of those in the future. But for a game like this that seems so different, like there should be dungeons or maybe like Pokemon dens or something like that. Like we saw the Pokemon dens in the Crown Tundra, and it's pretty cool. I think that concept should be expanded upon in a game such as this that seems a lot more based on exploration. I want to actually go down into the Pokemon dens and like run around in them, not just go in like a series of sequential battles.
So are you saying that you don't want like an antagonist, so to speak?
There can be antagonists, but I don't want like, all right, this is just like this game's version of Team Rocket.
Yeah,
You know?
I don't want Giovanni's grandfather standing there, like thinking about how he's going to take over all the Pokemon.
Great.
Yeah, like not everything has to be like Star Wars, where like, all right, everyone's a Skywalker or a Kenobi.
For sure.
What's your last name? Oak.
Ray Oak.
Ray Oak, yeah.
Yeah.
So the thing that just happened, we saw starters from various regions, which I think is really cool. Like seeing these starters, they don't know where, like who brought them to the, I guess it was the professor that you're dealing with brought them to the region. But most of the footage that we're seeing is just Gen 4 monsters. And I know this might seem like a long shot given the way that they're presenting this, where it's like the lore is like this is in the ancient times, like before like the modern like town system is set up. I like so like all of the Pokemon are probably going to be native to the Sinnoh region. However, I think that there should be ways to get other Pokemon in there, even if like the purpose of it is to build out your Sinnoh decks.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think the story, Brian, will be that the Earth used to be one landmass, and then eventually it breaks into continents and takes every piece of wildlife with it. So this is clearly Pangea.
Oh, of course.
Oh yeah. Pokemon.
Yeah.
There you go.
And now that we're going a little bit more frame by frame, I'm definitely seeing more creatures than I did before. We got Turtwig, Pikachu, whatever that one is.
I'm glad you were naming all these because I only read like, hey, that's the guy from Smash Brothers.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm curious. I would imagine because it is set in feudal Sinnoh. I'm imagine. I guess I'm split because I would love to see more Pokemon than just this era. You know what I mean? But also too, like as we talked about on stream earlier, like this is an era. The Sinnoh region's not one I'm versed in a ton because I wasn't playing my DS back when Diamond and Pearl came out. So I'm curious to see if there's something lore wise or story wise where there was more Pokemon in this region, and then like some sort of calamity happened again, and perhaps and like force them to migrate or wipe them out or something. Maybe not as dark, but
I'm wondering if it looks like there are multiple ways to catch Pokemon in this. Like you can stealthily throw a Pokeball at them, it looks like, or you can battle them maybe. I'm wondering, I like that idea. Like I love being able to like throw a Pokeball at a Litleo and catch it.
Yeah, like manually throw it.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like it's not a prompt.
I'm
yeah,
an idiot. It's a Shinx. It's not a Litleo.
it's okay.
God, they're never going to forgive me for that one.
No.
It's okay. I'm here to look like the idiot.
Mark, go ahead, Shay.
Well, I was just say, like, I want more areas to explore, which seems like they're giving it because, like they said, the villages and like are around, but there's not like giant bustling towns. So this looks like a giant wild area, which is something that I think would be awesome. But with that, I think there should be more exploration options. Like, I don't want them, like, a lot of people are calling this like kind of like a rip-off Breath of the Wild style thing. My tweet was Breath of the Wild area. But what I would like is some sort of like Breath of the Wild style climbing where you can scale things. Like, I don't want to have to like find like the correct path to get up a mountain. Like, if I just want to climb up a cliffside, like, let me do that.
And maybe I'm reading too much into the quote unquote cinematography of it, but like I feel like they made a very conscious effort in this trailer to show how winding and large these areas are. I especially with no sense of an antagonist, like I can't, like that mountain up on the left. I feel like you'd have to be able to just walk up that, and they would give you similar consequences as they did in Breath of the Wild, where it's like, yeah, you can go here, but we're gonna kick your ass. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're not supposed to be here. And they do that to an extent with Sword and Shield as well.
I just hope you have to like make a spicy dish to go to a cold area.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Also, breakable Pokeballs. No, I'm just kidding. They've been doing that since Gen 1.
Yeah.
Well, that's why they're wooden now.
Oh,
Yeah.
there's an answer for it now.
Gotta find the match Pokeball.
Marcus, as someone who is wanting to get back into this series, like, what do you think? What do you want from this? Like, is there a spot in the trailer you want me to highlight?
Well, like the stuff we're seeing so far, like as I wrote in my piece, one thing I really wanted is like no more random encounters. And, it looks like that might be the case. Like I'm so, I grew up with JRPGs. I'll always have a soft spot in my heart. And I grew up with the original Red, Blue, and Yellow. But I think Pokemon, more than maybe any other RPG, lends itself so well to having everything out in the world where you can see it, so that it just feels like, everything's teeming with life. And like this game looks like that for what it is, so that makes me excited.
Definitely.
Also, probably no Master Ball in this because if I recall correctly, that was developed by Silphco, right?
Yeah,
In Red Blue. Which
that's a good call out. Yeah.
would probably predate that, I would imagine, unless like Red Blue is like way back in the timeline.
For sure. And I guess another thing I'm really looking for this game, which, they've showed off a little bit right here. Like, one of the things that because I've beat both Sword and Shield now. And one of the things I was noticing in my second playthrough was, some of the animations for some of the attacks were very samey. So I really want attacks to feel distinct, like, whatever that attack was, being very different than what Bite or Hyper Beam was. You know what I mean? Like, more variety in that sense.
Make every attack look like the attack that's trying, not just like the same animation, but like with a different like overlay.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah. What else, gents? What else do you want to point out before we say goodbye?
The name Arceus is invoked in the title, and that Pokemon is noteworthy for being one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful Pokemon, and even to the point that it created the region or possibly even the universe. It's a little ambiguous at times. But I would love to learn more about that Pokemon, like intimately, not have to like just read about it, like not like, oh, here's a diary about it. Like you can have some of that stuff, but like I want to like observe it doing some of this cool stuff and like look at this thing.
Oh, interesting. So is the implication here, because if we go back a little bit,
it's basically the Lord.
I was gonna say, is it God?
Yeah,
because
he basically God is someone that only knows him as the thing that shows up in Smash Brothers.
Yeah, basically. I mean, it's a pretty powerful Pokemon.
Because we go from light, lush grass area to dark nothing here, and then looks like it unleashes some sort of energy that creates life. Apparently, man, Catholic school did not teach me enough.
Can you catch him in the games? Can you catch God?
I think so.
Interesting. It seems like he would just be unbeatable at that point, right?
Catch it. You can catch Arceus.
You just be the ultimate trainer at that point, right?
Marcus, you can't catch God. God's already in your heart.
Oh, okay. The Pokeball in my chest.
There's going to be some people not happy with me, but that's okay. Yeah. Also, I love the art style and the color palette they're using for this. Yeah. I'm very excited. As you could see from the stream, if you watched it earlier, this is finally Game Freak answering our call for something different, right? It doesn't bother me that it's taking inspiration from Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild is one of the best games ever, and like if it can replicate some of the best parts of that, why wouldn't we want that?
And plus, replicating Breath of the Wild, that seal has been breached already.
Yeah,
I think so.
We can't be mad when Genshin Impact's sitting there.
The wild area.
The Sinnoh region was
Say again?
still only
People have been wanting that ever since they debuted the wild area in Sword and Shield. People were like, "Oh, I want like Breath of the Wild style Pokemon."
Definitely. So I'm very excited. Marcus and Brian, do you have any parting thoughts before we go?
Yes, obviously as the noob, some of you might be yelling at me like this guy doesn't know anything, and you'd be absolutely correct. I actually am really excited about this. I tell myself every new Pokemon game, I'm like, I think this will be the one that gets me back in, and then it never does. I think ultimately I'm just kind of bored with the formula, which is weird to say as someone that hasn't played them in a while, but I played those games so much that it's still ingrained in my mind. And I guess the other games just didn't differentiate enough. And like looking at this, like being able to throw the ball freely and just like the emphasis on just kind of free roaming, that interests me a lot. So I'm going to be keeping a close eye on this.
Cool, for sure. Mr. Shea?
Absolutely. And this is the kind of game that I've wanted. I mean, I would love a game, again, like this is kind of like a great first step and first attempt at this formula. Eventually, I would like to see this formula, if successful, carried into the mainline series and like have a modern set game with this style where you're going from town to town, but you can do it kind of at like in the order that you want, as long as your level is the right number. Like you can grind all you want in the beginning stages, and maybe you go straight to the 6th gym. Who knows? But for now, I'm just excited for a game that's based on this. if it's cool, I'd love to see it carried into other regions as well. And most shockingly, I think for me, is that this is coming early 2022.
Yeah, that's wild. And the internet's all ablaze about whether or not a Switch Pro is coming too, and people are thinking like maybe this would be a great way to launch that. I'd love that, but I'm focused on, I want to see like, you know, what a HUD looks like in this game. Do they keep it minimalistic? You know, what are we actually catching? You know, what are those battles going to be like? We have a lot to see still, but talk about making one hell of a first impression. And this is easily my most anticipated game of next year. Unless, as Brian Shea said earlier, if Halo Infinite drops, then that's more of a moral conundrum for me. Or
the Breath of the Wild sequel comes out next year.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It could be a big year next year. I mean, Halo Infinite's still set for this year, but you know, there's a lot coming down the pipeline, I think. And then plus any game that gets delayed out of this year because of the impact of COVID. So
definitely
2022 already shaping up to be a great year.
Yes, most definitely. Marcus, what were you gonna say?
Oh no, I was gonna say anything, but yeah, like I said, I'm looking forward to this. I'm excited to learn more about it goes on. I hope it sticks that, you know, early 2022 date and doesn't get pushed back. But yeah, you guys are infectious. You got me pumped up for this now.
I love to hear it. Also, Team Cyndaquil for the win. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. If you liked this, be sure to like, share, and subscribe on our YouTube page, youtube.com/GameInformer. Be sure to go check out the website, GameInformer.com. I'm sure there is plenty more Pokemon news that you'll get to read from our site and watch on our videos. So thank you. Be good to one another, and we'll see you next time.